One of the challenges I find that both buyers and sellers are struggling with right now is pricing. And buyers are out there looking for that deal. They're thinking that, okay, we're starting to hear that the market's slowing down, interest rates are up, homes are not selling as frequently. So the buyers are thinking, okay, we're going to get a bit of a deal. On the flip side of that, sellers are still looking at that high number where we were, that higher watermark back in February 2022, saying, yeah, no, I still want my number. And we haven't bridged that gap completely today. And I think what's happening out there is we're seeing a little bit of a standoff in how that's being dealt with. Hence why we're seeing days on market gone out now to 60, 70, 80 days in some cases, and even longer. In some cases we've exceeded 100 days. But that's been a bit of a challenge that both sides are dealing with today. One wants a deal, one doesn't want to give up a deal.
Yeah, expectations aren't aligning, and you know, in addition to that, obviously, there's a lot of factors at play that have contributed to, you know, that disparity in expectation. You know, we've got inflation that's at all-time highs. We've got interest rates that have risen rapidly over the last 18 months,
which impacts qualification.
Exactly, and you know, the stress test for the mortgages hasn't been softened in any way, so you still have to qualify at an even higher rate.
So now some people are qualifying as high as 9% as a qualifying number. So big challenges for that.
It makes it really tough, and from there you've got, you know, you people still need to make moves for whatever reason, you know, downsizing, upsizing, you know, unfortunate, some divorces, people passing away, whatever the situation is, those people, you still got to make a move, and it's trying to navigate the market as best they can. That's where, of course, we come in. But the challenge really is trying to find them the best deal while also achieving your seller's results that they expect.
And I think what's happening out there is people are still looking at things from a perspective of, well, if we ask for this, we can always come down. But, or, you know, what about the strategy of pricing it really low and getting multiple offers? So when we talk about different challenges, I mean, there's a lot of things that have happened in the last 2-3 years of real estate. People are starting to go back and say, well, what have we tried this or what have we tried that? My own personal experience is that list low and bid up, hope that it's going to bid up, hasn't been working lately. I've been on the buyer end of that situation, and it hasn't turned out the way the seller wanted. And it's also created a scenario where we had a lot of people come looking at the house who have no qualification to buy that house because the pricing's not right. So that's created a challenge upon us.
Yeah, it does. You know, that list low strategy worked really well at the height of the pandemic and before rates started going up.
When you had 15 offers coming in.
But it's been falling flat, I think, in most cases. I think the wins in that are probably fewer than, you know, the ones that didn't get quite what they wanted.
So from a price perspective, we've had challenges out there for sure, but one of the things that you and I keep talking about is going back to that readiness, being prepared to go on the market. Because
absolutely.
With the competition now, you got to be able to put your best foot forward, because now it's all about the features and benefits and who has the best home.
With more inventory, you've got more competition. Your house has to stand out. You have to be taking the best photos. You have to have the video. You have to have the drone. You know, floor plans, 3D tour, the whole bit. You've got a solid media
But
package.
also that readiness, and you had a good story about that. You shared with me.
Yeah, that's right. We were just talking about this. So, you know, going back a few months, I had clients who had a home that was an estate sale, and they were waiting on paperwork, the probate paperwork.
Right.
The house showed pretty well, but we had a window of time where, you know, they said, well, can we do this? Can we do that? Should we do this? Should we do that? And I said, you know, we need to make sure the house shows its best. We're aligning, you know, if the timeline for paperwork is expected to be in the spring market, which it was, fortunately worked out that way, we should use the winter months leading up to that to prepare the house and do whatever's necessary. And they followed the advice. Not everybody does, but they assigned a budget to take care of certain things. We got everything, all our ducks in a row, and the house showed beautifully. The result ended up being at least a couple $100,000 higher than they ever expected the house would sell for. Now, we got a bit lucky with spring market, being a bit fortunate this year, but that doesn't, you know, change out the market for any other market. You still have to be ready and have everything ready to go. You don't know when your next purchase is going to be available, when you're going to find that, and if you're not ready to go on your sale, it could be a problem.
Absolutely, and that's been, you know, even with my own experience lately, I had a client that wants to go out and buy a house. We find the right house, they fall in love with the house, but we don't have their house ready to go on the market and sell. We're too early in the stage here, and unfortunately, we didn't get the house that they fell in love with.
Because they weren't in a position to pull the trigger.
They were not. They had started the work, but we hadn't finished the work. They weren't ready to go on the market. If we had to go on the market in the stage they were, it would have cost them detrimentally to their outcome.
Right.
They lost the house that they wanted to buy. Biggest challenge we have now is now that we're ready to go on the market's changed, one, and two, every house that we've been looking at ever since is measured against the one they didn't get. Right, which creates a whole new issue. Because now everything is set up for disappointment. It's always measured against that. So
and there'll always be another house, but it might not be that house.
It might not be.
And it'll
that
take
house.
time.
So being ready when the time comes, when the right one comes up, is so critical. If you've got to sell to buy or anything like that, getting your house ready is so important to be prepared. It leads into everything that's going to happen going